What makes a man crazy enough to join the cops?
You find out, you let me know, huh?
Now, up to this point, each of the Dirty Harry films had been cheaper to shoot and both made a ton of money, so it was a given that a part 3 would come, and it would arrive 3 years later, again at Christmas, with The Enforcer from 1976, a movie that would take the story in a different direction from the traditional structure of the original, as this time Callahan would team up with a female partner to take down a terrorist group calling themselves the People's Revolutionary Strike Force. The budget would spike to $9 million this time around, and like the prior movies, I think The Enforcer is well shot with a lot of great outdoor on-location shoots that do effectively pull you into this story. At this point, Callahan has delivered a reputation, and after destroying a liquor store, his superiors are just fed up with his costly old-school brute tactics, so we get that natural turn in the character where his past virtues have turned to liabilities. It's time for the character to kind of grow, and this nicely incorporates the performance from Tyne Daly. You may remember her from Cagney and Lacey. I think she's fantastic in this movie, and I really do love her chemistry with Eastwood, and I think she's one of the best elements of this film. Now, naturally, you do get the upped level of violence. This movie was actually criticized by some at the time for its excessive brutality, but really compared to modern action flicks, the violence in this movie is nothing major. I think it actually does work well for the tone. However, the tone of this movie does feel a bit uneven in places. The Enforcer would be the first of the series to really try to incorporate little splashes of comical dialogue, and I do admit that it does feel a bit clunky in places. I also feel the villains this time around are a bit too cartoonish. They all just kind of feel like action movie henchmen without an imposing leader, so when they ultimately clash with Eastwood and Daly, this time in a nicely set finale on Alcatraz, there just is a slight fizzle to the intensity, as no one in this crew feels like an alpha or even remotely equipped to go toe-to-toe with Dirty Harry. Regardless, though, The Enforcer was well received. It would surpass both Dirty Harry and Magnum Force by pulling in $46.2 million at the box office, so despite its flaws, it did pretty well.